On this week's Ask Dan, I talk about that foldable display patent filed by Microsoft. Should you wait for Project Scorpio? And what's my favorite app on Windows 10? Stay tuned. What do I think of the foldable phone/mobile device patent that Microsoft was recently awarded? Earlier this week, some big news came out of the U.S. Patent Office. Basically, Microsoft was awarded a design for a foldable mobile device. There were a couple of variations there, one with 2 screens, one with 3 screens. And it goes into basically the history of mobile devices and talking about iterations and improvements thereof. Now, normally I don't focus too much on patents. Companies normally do this. They have scientists, they file patents, and the reason they do that is to protect their investment later on. It doesn't actually mean that product is coming down the line. In fact, Microsoft has a ton of patents that we've never actually seen in a consumer device. However, in talking to our sources, when we showed them these patent designs, a lot of them raised an eyebrow because they have seen these before. And that's a couple sources now. So this has been confirmed in our opinion that this is something that Microsoft is actually working on to bring to consumer devices. Now, of course, that still doesn't actually mean we'll actually see it. Microsoft has canceled designs in the past right up before they were about to ship. So we'll just have to wait and see here. But yes, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I do believe what we are seeing here are the first iterations of what could be the Surface phone. Should I save money for a gaming PC or wait and buy Project Scorpio instead? Okay, so this is always a tough question. Do you go gaming PC or a console? Now, the reason that's going to be a little bit more difficult here is Project Scorpio, which right now is actually sort of a big question mark. We do know a lot about it. For instance, it has 12 gigs of RAM. It will be out in November of this year. It's going to probably run Redstone 3, including Windows 10. It's going to have some new shell elements that we're going to start to see actually probably next week. And that means that there's going to be a lot of new stuff coming. However, we don't know if this is going to be better than a gaming PC. Although I have heard from our internal sources that the goal here is to have 4K gaming at 60 frames per second for most titles. That is, when developers want to aim for a 4K game, they should be able to hit 60 frames per second, and this will be capable of it. Now, is that enough for you? That's up to you. I think for most people, 4K gaming at 60 frames per second is sort of the dream. So, in that sense, I don't think there's going to be a huge difference here between a console and PC, but there's no doubt that having a straight-up gaming PC will still offer you more customizability that you won't get with a console. Personally, I like consoles because I'm older now and I don't like screwing around with computers anymore, but that's me. I think the choice is going to be a lot more difficult though, but we'll have to wait until E3 later this summer when Microsoft actually unveils Project Scorpio. Why is Microsoft still developing Windows 10 Mobile, though they have stopped making Lumia devices? So this question comes up every few months, and it's really important to answer. This stuff is confusing after all. What I think is going to happen is Windows 10 Mobile as we know it today will be designed basically towards low-end and budget devices, whereas Windows 10 and ARM is going to take over and be the pro and high-end devices, what we would eventually see in a Surface phone were that to happen. Now, what needs to actually happen here with Windows 10 is, of course, the shell stuff. We have one core. So talking about an OS is basically a little strange right now. It is all one OS at a certain level. What needs to happen, though, is the shell stuff needs to basically be unified as well. And this is where we hear the concept of composable shells. You have to have the ability for Windows 10 to be on a mobile device. That is, the UI needs to shrink down. We already have that with Windows 10 Mobile. This is why they keep developing it now. They are developing what is Windows 10 on 6-inch devices or smaller. They also need ARM support and, of course, cellular connectivity, and that's already now being merged into Windows 10 proper. In the future, though, we're just talking about one OS. We're going to have one core and you have composable shells, and this OS will live on any devices, whether it's holographic, it's Xbox, it's phone, it's tablet, it's PC. So what we're seeing is that merger process happening right now, but that's why I think it's going to actually happen later this year. What is your favorite built-in app on Windows 10? Really interesting question and kind of tough to answer. I don't really have a single app I like to use, but it's a bunch of them. Snipping Tool is definitely one of my favorites just because I do a lot of goofy stuff, along with MS Paint. I'm actually not a huge fan of the new MS Paint as it's too complicated for me. I actually really like the real basic MS Paint from 20 years ago. The other thing I really like is the Skype app, mostly because I'm on Skype all day. And so I really like how it's improved. It's still not perfect, but I could do a lot more with it today than I could 6 months ago. And I think it looks really nice as well. Finally, my other favorite app would definitely be Groove. I think that app has made a huge improvement over last year. And it's just one of my go-to apps that I use every day. And I generally really enjoy using it. Are the Surface 4, Surface Pro 5, or Surface Book 2 likely to be ARM-based? So that's a really good question. I've talked about this in the past, but let's revisit it. My theory is Surface 4, or what may be Surface 5 by the time it actually comes out, will be the only ARM-based Surface out there. Surface Book 2 and Surface Pro 5 will be proper Core i5 and Core i7 processors. And that's because those are going to be much more performant and much more powerful than what is currently an ARM processor. I think that difference will slowly go away going to 2018 and 2019, but we still have a few years left before ARM is actually competitive with, say, a high-end Core i7 processor. Plus, once you throw in the thing with dual-core and quad-core differences, there's going to be just a big gap that needs to be overcome, but it is slowly happening. We'll have to wait a few more months, though, before we hear anything definitive from Microsoft, but that's my current thinking. So that does it for this week's episode. Remember, if you have a question, use hashtag AskDanWindows on Twitter or AskDan@WindowsCentral.com, and maybe I'll pick yours. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Take care, everybody.